ONS data release continues to show an acceleration in the rate of immigration into Britain, with net migration of plus 333k in the year to December 2015 added to Britain's population, an increase of 20k in the total of the preceding year, which illustrates that immigration is still accelerating, which literally translates into a daily flood of near 1,000 people turning up on Britain's shores and demanding housing, education, school places, jobs and benefits such as tax credits, housing and child benefits, health and social services that have been buckling and breaking, as illustrated by social housing that in most cities has been in a state of total paralysis for many years now. The impact of out of control immigration is all pervasive, from jobs to housing to health. For instance, call your local NHS dentist up for an appointment after a while. They will likely tell you that you are no longer registered, even though your last visit was less than 2 years ago. And since, without any knowledge of registered patients, the dental practice has changed its registered patients rule from 2 years to 15 months, ultimately down to 12 months, which effectively means that an increasing number of British people are no longer able to see any NHS dentist, as they are no longer taking new patients. This is just one real world example of the consequences of out of control immigration. The Conservative government's failure to control immigration for the past 6 years is just a continuation of the Labour immigration catastrophe that set in motion an 18-year-long immigration megatrend for the importation of 10 million people, i.e. total immigration, where approximately 90% of the adults were expected to vote Labour, of which at least 90% are on benefits such as tax credits, as the following graph illustrates that immigration really is out of control. At the current trend trajectory, UK net migration could hit 400k per year within 3 years. Remember, this is a cumulative 330k plus 360k plus 400k would total a net migration population increase of plus 1.1 million in just 3 years, which will be added to the natural population growth running at about 230k per annum. The bottom line is that the UK governments demonstrably have no control over Britain's borders whilst remaining within the European Union, which means that out of control immigration will continue to persist, and the trend for which is both exponential and unsustainable. The immigration statistics further break down into the following facts. The key point that the mainstream press has apparently missed is that the net figures mask the reality of what the gross immigration figure of 630k implies, which effectively means that the impact of immigration is double to that which the headline figure of 333k suggests, i.e. in terms of social cohesion and housing and services for pockets of the UK most affected by immigration, i.e. like London and the South East and other inner cities. Immigration is also one of the driving forces for the buy-to-let sector, as foreign-born population are 3 times more likely to rent than UK-born people, which in large part is due to the benefit system, i.e. migrants' greater propensity to claim housing benefit. This graph illustrates accelerating waves of EU migration as each group of accession states were granted free movement for work, residency and benefits within Britain. The most recent surges come from the EU2, that's Romania and Bulgaria, and the EU15, that's Western and Southern Europe, in the wake of the financial crises, whilst EU8, that's Poland and much of Eastern Europe, have remained consistently high for over a decade. And annual immigration of non-EU citizens is 277k compared with 287k the previous year, whilst outside of EU migration is controlled, generally requiring visa qualification for entry clearance. Nevertheless, the UK has been experiencing a persistent surge in immigration from mainly China and India, which comprise 65% of the total immigration from outside of the EU, the reasons for which I will cover in a future video. The rise in outside of EU migration has prompted the Conservative government of the past 5 years to tighten immigration requirements, that is resulting in a falling overall trend from 340k per annum 5 years ago to 277k today, which is set against EU migration that has soared from 170k 5 years ago to 270k today, up from 264k the previous year. However, as my next video analysis on Nino will illustrate, that the actual EU migration is far higher, perhaps double the official ONS statistics, due to near total lack of control of EU migration into the UK. So click through to my next video that explains why actual EU migration is probably double the ONS estimate, as well as my previous video on Britain's immigration crisis. Also, remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel to be notified of new videos in this series.